Assalamualaikum. Welcome to my study skills presentation. My name is Mohammad Izzat Iqbal, and today I'll be explaining my general understanding and experience on my presentation of the study skills UED 102 course. So let's start off with my introduction. My name, of course, is Mohammad Izzat Iqbal. You heard before. I am 18 years old currently. I am studying in UITM Kelantan, but currently I am located in Putrajaya, Precinct 14. I like partaking in hobbies such as gaming, and I'm also a bit of a sports guy. My student ID is 20204188086, and the lecturer that's taught me this subject is Muhammad Shauki bin Muhammad Arifin. Here we can see our course outline throughout the UED 102 experience. What I experienced throughout this course is pretty phenomenal. Here I'll be explaining the course outline. In week 1, we went through 2 topics, which were learning skills and goals. In week 2, we went through time management and organizational skills. In week 3, we went through memorization, and actually there were more that were focused concentration improvement and reading skills or reading systems. And then there was week 4, which was our last week. We only had 4 weeks in this course. Week 4, we learned how to take lecturers' notes and the benefits of them, and also the academic integrity and performances of a student. So my experiences taking UED 102, generally, I personally feel that I've become a person that finally found ways and strategies on how to become self-sufficient. Here I explain that the course Study Skills UED 102 allows me to find out new strategies on how to become a self-sufficient student. Besides that, also UED also focuses a lot on goals and how to achieve them. One of the topics and studies that have been inculcated into my head is also how to overcome obstacles to reach goals, which I'll be explaining later on. Next up, we have the first topic that we learned in week 1, which are learning styles. Here in learning styles, we have 3 separate learning styles. We start off with the first being a kinesthetic or the kinesthetic learner. So the kinesthetic learner is a person or people who specialize in learning methods that involves hand-on work. We were given a Quizlet by our lecturer to take, so we can evaluate which preferred style learner we are, either visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. And I scored pretty high in kinesthetic. I got a total of 9 scores. So generally what a kinesthetic learner is, in the definition of the Quizlet, is kinesthetic learners need to be physically active in doing things. So if your preferred style generally is kinesthetic, you are normally a hands-on learner and you have good coordination and learn by doing so. Also, you have an active approach to learning. That's basically it. Next up, we have the second type of learner, which is the visual learner. Visual learners, in my understanding and what I evaluated from studying this course, is visual learners are people who have the ability to understand and decipher information using visual skills, or mainly their eyes. I am not too much of a visual learner, but the characteristics of a visual learner, as explained by me in short, is a person that understands and deciphers information using visual skills. But besides that, if your preferred style is visual, you have strong visualization skills normally and can remember object shapes and pictures pretty easily. So on the third hand, we have the last type of learner, and we have auditory learner. So in my understanding, auditory learners are people who learn or who are very sharp in consuming verbal information and are good at remembering what was heard. So I also scored a 9 on auditory while taking the Quizlet, which indicates I am a bit of an auditory learner. So auditory learners need to hear information generally. If your preferred style is auditory, it generally means you have a good ear and can hear differences in tones and rhythm. Reading out loud will be beneficial, and also you can remember what you hear in a lecture pretty easily. Next slide, we see goals, and more specifically the characteristics of a goal. A goal should have these 5 characteristics, which divided into an acronym known as SMART: specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, and time frame, time bound, or time based. So what I understand from this is goals cannot just be measly things we think of as achievable in all circumstances. Goals are things that we have to have specified understandings, something that is measurable. Of course, it has to be achievable. It will also have to be relevant, and with a goal comes a deadline or due date. So this means it has to be time bound or time framed or time based. So how I incorporated using goals in my everyday studies are by using these characteristics to find ways to make me ease my way through the goals and also not procrastinate by using, for an example, the T acronym, time bound, by having a due date and a deadline. It motivates me to actually get the work done. And then we also have specific goals where I can use specified words or specified notes to remind me that I am supposed to be achieving this goal or supposed to be doing this task specifically at this time. So it is easier for me to achieve it. Besides that, we move on to our next topic, which is time management. Time management is also something we learned throughout our UED 102 course. All about time management we learned, and what I understood from it is how to make functional timetables, how we can divide our workload according to time, and also how to achieve sufficient study hours. The lecturer of our UED 102 course gave us activities to do that are time management based. He gave us an activity that we had to create our own timetable with, and this actually helped me out a lot in managing my time very properly. It also allowed me to find out how much study hours I've been putting in throughout my weekly cycle. And also with this, I was able to divide my workload according to my time. In week 3, we learned a lot about memorization, concentration improvement, and reading systems. Mainly what I got from these studies in week 3 are how to improve your memory or my memory generally. The strategies that I've incorporated to improve my memory is by rehearsing, which was taught. By rehearsing, I mean repeating the information many times. So repetition is also a very good way for me to increase my memory capacity. Besides that, elaboration strategies were also used. I use the method of association and also imagery and acronyms or catchwords to understand and memorize information more rapidly. Besides that, we also understood and learned how to improve our concentration and the causes of poor concentration. Mainly, the causes of poor concentration that I witnessed and experienced firsthand is that I don't pay a lot of attention. I also lack interest and motivation. The causes of poor concentration that I've witnessed is also by an uncomfortable environment. Lastly, we have reading system in week 3. We were taught a system known as SQ3R, which means survey question, read, recite, and review. It is a comprehension strategy which facilitates how students think about the text they are reading, helped me as a student, and also taught me how to read and get it in the first time by reading and thinking like an effective reader. Next up, in week 4, I learned that taking notes are very important, especially lecturers' notes. Why taking notes are so important is because our brain only recalls 10% of an audio lecture that lasts in memories, but a scientific study shows that students who take and review their notes can recall about 80% more of the same lecture that was mentioned beforehand. Taking lecturers' notes also can promote active listening. This also help me generally learn and remember the information better. So I get to become more organized with my information and how I place them. I was also taught how to take the lecturer's notes by preparing before the taking of the notes, reading the text assignments before class, and this really helped me throughout my study skills course. In week 4, we also were taught academic integrity and performance. Academic integrity and performance generally means how a student's academic integrity is seen throughout the course of their study, and this is normally caused by plagiarisms. And how I learned to prevent plagiarism, there are 2 ways, by planning and writing. With planning, you have to plan your paper and take effective notes, and via writing is general knowledge where we know how to paraphrase, evaluate your sources, and also we have to learn how to cite sources. I learned how to calculate my GPA because we had an assessment that we had to complete for our e-portfolio, and the assessment was relating to how we can calculate our own GPAs for this semester. This topic, we also learned a lot about failure and dismissal. Failure and dismissal has statuses such as D1, D2, D3, D45, and so on until D7. And these dismissals and failures are prescribed or given to students who get, for an example, status D1, if a student gets a CGPA of less than 180. This put me on my toes as it allowed me to understand how fundamental it is to complete your assignments and incorporate study skills in your everyday assignment or task taking, because it might benefit you and also help you avoid getting failures and dismissals as mentioned before. That's all for my explanation and experiences taking the course UED 102. Thank you for watching my video and have a nice day.